Hello, everybody. Today we are going to discuss on chapter History of Earth. After learning this chapter, you'll be able to explain the history of Earth with reference to fossil. Similarly, you will be able to explain evolution of life with reference to fossil. You will be able to explain how the fossil forms. Similarly, you will be able to list the importance of mineral fuel. There are many hypotheses given to explain the formation of solar system. Among them, we'll be discussing here three hypotheses: Georgian hypothesis, nebular hypothesis, and tidal hypothesis. Georgian hypothesis is also called planetesimal hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, a comet hit large hot ball of gases from which some part of it splitted. Later, this splitted part cooled down and formed planets along with Earth, and the remaining mass turned into Sun. The second hypothesis is nebular hypothesis. It is also called Kant's hypothesis. In space, we can see cloud of gas and dust particles. This cloud of gas and dust particles is known as nebula. According to this hypothesis, the gas and dust particles they started coming closer. They started getting condensed due to gravitation, and later the peripheral part that splitted and formed planets and satellites, whereas the remaining central part turned into sun. The last hypothesis is tidal hypothesis. It is also known as Jeans and Jeffreys hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, a star passed nearby our sun, and due to that, some part of it was pulled outside, and later this condensed and formed the planets along with sun. Let us discuss about some of the information given in the old book encyclopedia about the earth. It is considered that the age of earth is about 4.5 billion years. Area of the surface is 509,700,000 square kilometer. Similarly, area of lithosphere, means area of land, it is 148,400,000 square kilometer. Area of hydrosphere, as you can see, the water surface area is more than the land, so its area is 361,300,000 square kilometer. The diameter of Earth along the equator is 12,756 kilometer. The mass of Earth is 6 times 10 to the power 24 kilograms. The relative density of Earth is 5.5. It means it is 5.5 times heavier than the water. The main gases that is found in the atmosphere of Earth is nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, and carbon dioxide gas. And our Earth has only one satellite, and the name of that satellite is Moon. An average surface temperature of Earth is 15 degrees Celsius, and the distance between Sun and Earth is 1 astronomical unit. AU means astronomical unit, which means 149,600,000 kilometer. This data do remember, because question may ask in SE examination based on this information. Now let's talk about geological time scale. So it is the gap that covers the history of Earth from its origin to present. That gap or that time period is known as geological time scale. As just before we discussed that the Earth age is estimated about 4.5 billion years ago, and this gap is known as geological time scale. And this geological time scale is further divided into different units of time like eon, era, period, and epoch. Among them, eon is the largest unit of geological time scale, whereas epoch is the smallest one. Eon is divided into further four units: Phanerozoic eon, Proterozoic eon, Archean eon, and Hadean eon. Sometime question may be asked to you, write different types of eon, then you will be writing this as an answer. Now let's talk about era. So geological time scale is divided into four eras. The first is Precambrian era, which began 4.5 billion years ago and continued till 570 million years ago. Then Paleozoic era. The Paleozoic era began 570 million years ago and continued till 250 million years ago. Mesozoic era, it is also called era of creepers. So this era began 250 million years ago and continued till 65 million years ago. And the present era is called Cenozoic era. It is also called era of mammals, which began 65 million years ago and it is still continuing. So let's discuss about each era in detail. This is the first era. Precambrian era is the first era. So this era, it began 4.5 billion years ago, means the time when Earth was originated. It started from that time and ended in 570 million years ago. At the beginning of this era, there was no sign of life because Earth was very hot. There was no suitable temperature. There was no suitable atmosphere. So there was no sign of life. But about 3.8 billion years ago, the slowly Earth started cooling down and some bacteria were seen. About 3.2 billion years ago, some algae were seen. And since there were a lot of volcanic eruption, so those lava which came out, they condense and form various igneous rocks like gneisses, granite, etc. formed. About the end of this era, there were many invertebrate evolved. Now let's go to second era, Paleozoic era. This era, it began right after Precambrian era, which began 570 million years ago and ended in 250 million years ago. And during this era, many vertebrates and invertebrates they started evolve. Mesozoic era. This era began after Paleozoic era and began 250 million years ago and ended in 65 million years ago. During this era, hills and mountains were formed. Animals living in land, water, and air were evolved. This era is also called era of reptiles, as reptiles were dominant in this era. Dinosaurs were example. They evolved in this era, became dominant, and got extinct within the same era. Since reptiles were dominant in this era is also called era of creepers. Creepers means reptiles. The present era. This present era, which began 65 million years ago and it is still continuing, is known as Cenozoic era. And in this era, mountains were formed. Ice age began due to which many ancient living beings got extinct, like example mammoth, and new living beings were evolved. And during this era, volcanic eruption were taking place. And in this era, mammals were dominant. That's why this era is also called era of mammals. So this is the summarized form of events that took place during the different era. Like example, Precambrian era, it began 4.5 billion years ago and continued till 570 million years ago. And during this era, bacteria and algae were involved, not at the beginning of this era, but about 3.8 billion years ago, bacteria evolved, and about 3.2 billion years ago, algae were evolved. So these are the some events you can check later and prepare for the exam. Fossils. In Latin language, the meaning of fossils is dug up. Why it is called? Because fossils you can discover after digging up. the earth. So branch of science which deals about fossils is not paleontology, and fossils is defined as remains of body parts of past organism, because those past organisms they died and buried under the earth. After that, the soft part of body get decayed and hard part of body will remain, and that remains of that body parts of past organism is known as fossils. And they are all found in sedimentary rocks, because the way sedimentary rocks formed and fossils are same. That's why fossils are found in sedimentary rocks. Now, how to identify fossils? There are some techniques. Let's discuss about that. So you'll find fossils in different form. Like you'll find impression of whole or part of the body of dead organisms remains in the hard ground. These fossils can be identified studying these impressions. So you'll not find the whole body, but you'll find just the impression. The next type of fossils that you'll find is whole skeleton of animals. You'll find and that are pressed in rocks, and this fossil can be easily be identified. Similarly, we'll also find the fossils of morphology of hard parts like skeleton, teeth, bones, soot, lips, etc. of some organisms. How fossils form? Let's discuss that. So this picture is giving you clear explanation. So some part of organs or whole body of organism decay in the soil, while some are preserved after they are buried in sand, mud for long period of time. In this process, the fossils are found by skeleton after they are prepared in after they are pressed in rocks. The fossils are shaped in sedimentary rocks because the way sedimentary rocks are formed and the fossils it is similar. Why fossils are important? Fossils are important because they provide evidence of evolution of living beings, because what scientists believe that life has come from simple to complex. And to support this theory, the fossils give evidence to scientists, because when you just go down, you'll find the fossils of simple organism, and as you come off, then you'll find the fossils of developed organism. So it proves that the life has come from simple to complex. So this fossils gives evidence of evolution of living beings. It helps to know about extinct animals and plants, because nobody has seen past animals or plants, how they look like, nobody has any idea. But using the fossils, we can know about them. So that's why it is important. It also tells us the history of location from where fossils is obtained. So by studying fossils, we can predict, we can guess what kind of location was that, what kind of environment was that. We can just guess and we can study about it. Fossils are fossil helps to form fossil fuels, so that's why it is also the it also helps to form the fossil fuel, and it helps to make geological time scale, which you just learned before. Fossil fuel. So in one sentence, if you have to say what is fossil fuel, then the fuel that is obtained from fossil, that is called fossil fuel. And some of the example of fossil fuel are coal, mineral oil, and natural gas. So it is formed by the remains of dead bodies of plants and animals under the rocks or soil after millions of years. Coal, it is one example of fossil fuel, and it is non-renewable source of energy, because once it is finished, it can be renewed, and it is obtained from the fossils or living thing. That's why it is known as fossil fuel. Though it is non-renewable, but what is happening, its demand is increasing day by day. The reason is it is easy to transport, it is very cheap, and most of the conventional machine work with the help of coal. That's why it is very much in high demand, though it is non-renewable. And there are three types of coal: peat, lignite, bituminous, and anthracite. We mean to say four types, not three types. There are four types of coal: peat, lignite, bituminous, and anthracite. Among them, anthracite is considered as the best coal because it contains more amount of carbon in comparison to other type of coal. So in Dang, in our country, first three are available. How coal is formed? Let's discuss about that. The process of forming coal from large mass of plants buried under the soil in high pressure and temperature known as carbonization. So it means to say that the coal is formed from the plants buried under the soil in high pressure for longer period of time. And this process is called carbonization. So since plant cell is made up of cellulose and lignin, when they are buried under the soil, then those cellulose and lignin present in the plant, they get decomposed by bacteria forming different gases like carbon dioxide, methane, etc., leaving black mixture containing mostly carbon, which is called coal. So in this way, coal is formed. The importance of coal. It is important for industries, house and other places for heating and generating electricity. A local tar is obtained from the coal and it is used to manufacture plastic. Mineral oil or petroleum oil. It is also non-renewable source of energy and it is also obtained from fossils of organisms. That's why it is also known as fossil fuel. And it is black colored viscous liquid with foul smell. It contains 90 to 95% hydrocarbons like methane, ethane, propane, like that. An impure oil that is obtained directly from the mine is called crude oil. And later on, this crude oil is refined and then from the oil, which is usable. Though it pollutes the environment, but its demand is uh, high in present world because reason is same. It is easy to transport, it is cheap source of energy, and plus it can be used in all kind of present machines. How mineral oil is formed? Let's discuss about that. When the dead bodies of plants and animals buried or piled up at the seabed due to high pressure and temperature, they will convert into crude oil. And this crude oil is present in impermeable cap-log. So cap-log means between the rocks. And later on, this crude oil is extracted and then refined using the technique called fractional distillation. So there are various forms of petroleum products and their uses. Like example, petroleum gas, it is used as fuel, like LPG gas that is used in our kitchen. Petroleum ether, it is used as solvent to dissolve various organic substances and for the cleaning. Petrol, it is used as fuel for light vehicle. Diesel, it is used as fuel for heavy vehicle. Kerosene, it is used as fuel for houses. Uh, Lubricating oil like grease and Vaseline, it is used to reduce friction in machine. Paraffin wax, it is used to make candle, matchsticks, etc. And petroleum coke, it is used to make fuel. Importance of mineral oil. So these mineral oils are used as lubricants in various machines to reduce friction. It is used as fuel for cooking food like LPG gas. It is used as vehicle fuel, like example petrol, diesel. It is used at many industries as fuel. It is used in the construction of roads like black tar or bitumen.